At the beginning of this story, we are shown a Mexican couple who bring their sick child to a church. They were very worried about their child because he had been behaving strangely for the past few days. The couple meets a woman named Dyla, who was known for communicating with ghosts and spirits. Dyla begins examining the child to find out what the problem might be. While doing so, she finds a necklace that was with the child. The parents explain that just a short while ago, their son had picked up this necklace from the ground, and since then, he had been seeing many strange things. The couple was deeply troubled, but the moment Dyla touched the necklace, she realized that it was overshadowed by dark powers. So, she brought the child to the church in an attempt to remove all the evil spirits from him. Dyla began her rituals to heal the child, but suddenly, the curse on the necklace triggered the opening of a portal to hell. From this portal, a demon emerged, grabbed the Mexican couple's child, and dragged him back into hell. Dyla was powerless in that moment and couldn't do anything to stop it. Sadly, the child lost his life. From that point, Dyla vowed to destroy the demon no matter what. Years pass after this terrifying incident. Now we are introduced to a woman named Christine, who works as a loan officer in a bank. Christine was working extremely hard because she wanted to be promoted to the position of assistant manager. Her boss, Jack, who was evaluating her performance, told her that she would have to perform even better because another employee named Sky was also competing for the same promotion. Therefore, Christine had to improve her performance and make some very critical decisions. She was determined to get the position no matter what and began putting in day and night effort. After lunch, Christine visits her boyfriend Dalton. They have a deep conversation, and Christine gives Dalton a silver coin, as he loved collecting antique items. Dalton safely stores the coin. He also had a mysterious envelope in his hand, which would later turn out to be very important. Christine and Dalton loved each other very much and even planned to get married in the future. But then Dalton receives a phone call from his mother, who tells him that he deserves a better girl than Christine and that he should break up with her. When Christine hears about this, she becomes very disheartened. She had been giving her best, but everything seemed to be going against her. Later, Christine notices in her office that Sky is giving money to their boss, essentially trying to bribe him to secure the assistant manager position. Sky was doing everything possible to impress the boss, and poor Christine was left clueless about what to do. As usual, she returns to her office and continues working. Just then, a very old woman named Sylvia comes to Christine to apply for a loan. However, since Christine was desperate to get the assistant manager position, she denied Sylvia's request, even though all her documents were in order, because she needed to be able to make tough decisions. Sylvia was crying a lot and pleading for help in front of Christine, but Christine showed no mercy and asked her to leave. The security guards arrived as well and escorted Sylvia out. Sylvia felt extremely humiliated in front of everyone and said, "I will take revenge for this." After Sylvia was taken away by the security guards, Christine's boss came over and told her, "You did a great job. I really like the way you make decisions. Now just keep increasing our genuine customers, and you will definitely get the assistant manager post." Sky was also watching all this, and he started burning with jealousy because he wanted that position before Christine. Christine felt very happy knowing that she was now very close to getting the promotion she had worked so hard for. Later, after work, Christine went to the parking area and saw her car. She got inside, unaware of what was about to happen. Suddenly, a piece of cloth flew and hit her car window. It belonged to the same old lady, Sylvia. Christine's attention was drawn forward, and she had no idea that Sylvia was sitting in the back seat. Sylvia suddenly attacked Christine from behind. She was only taking revenge for the humiliation she had suffered. But Christine somehow managed to push Sylvia back and threw her out of the car. However, Sylvia managed to grab a button from Christine's clothing and took it with her. Using that button, Sylvia began performing black magic. She cursed Christine using that piece of clothing. Christine soon fainted completely. A while later, police officers arrived and rescued Christine. Dalton, her boyfriend, also showed up, clearly very worried about her. But from that point on, Christine began hearing strange sounds around her. The voices kept growing louder and louder, and she couldn't tell where they were coming from. Christine began to feel afraid. She suspected that the old woman had indeed cursed her with dark magic. Not wanting to take any risks, she went with Dalton to visit a man named Parker. Parker could see spirits and ghosts, and he used his special vision to help people. After Christine pleaded with him multiple times, Parker finally agreed to help her. However, Dalton didn't believe in any of this, but Christine insisted that they go through with it. So Dalton agrees. As soon as Parker begins performing the ritual and touches Christine's hand, he senses the presence of a very dangerous demon. Parker had never felt such a terrifying demon before. He becomes extremely alert. However, Parker doesn't reveal much of this to Christine. He simply tells her that it's all due to fatigue. After that, Christine and Dalton leave. Dalton drops Christine home and goes back to the office. Christine starts preparing dinner for herself. Everything seems to be going normally at first. But suddenly, the electricity goes out, and the entire place is plunged into darkness. Christine begins to hear strange and disturbing sounds, voices that seem to be coming closer with the intent to harm her. The presence of several demonic spirits becomes apparent. Christine is terrified by all this. Then we see the shadow of an unknown figure. It doesn't look like a normal human but more like a horrifying hybrid creature. It suddenly attacks Christine and knocks her unconscious. A little later, Dalton arrives and becomes extremely worried about her. He believes that the old woman Sylvia is behind this attack. So, he files a police complaint against her. A psychiatrist is then called in to examine Christine. After thoroughly checking everything, the psychiatrist says that all of this is happening in her mind, these are just visions, and with time, they'll pass. He tells her that she doesn't need to worry or think about these things too much. Christine and Dalton feel relieved by this explanation because they really don't want to believe in such supernatural events. But reality cannot be changed so easily. While Christine is resting at home, she suddenly sees Sylvia approaching her again, trying to kill her. Christine screams and faints right there. The next morning, when she wakes up in her bed, she starts believing that everything she experienced was just a dream, that none of it really happened. To distract herself and get back to normal life, she heads to her office and begins helping several employees with their work. Even Sky came up to Christine asking for some help, but Christine kept seeing Sylvia's spirit around her, constantly trying to harm her. Christine couldn't concentrate on her work at all. At one point, she even started screaming loudly. Christine's boss, Jack, approached her, but just as he did, blood started dripping from her nose, and soon her entire mouth was filled with blood. Christine couldn't understand what was happening and immediately ran out of the office in a panic. At that moment, Christine realized that maybe all this was happening because of Sylvia's dark magic. She wanted to clear everything up, so she decided to go to Sylvia's house. She had found Sylvia's address from her profile. When she rang the doorbell, the door was opened by Sylvia's daughter. Christine explained everything to her, and only then did she realize that Sylvia had already died. However, the black magic Sylvia had cast still haunted Christine, and it wasn't going to leave her alone. What was even more shocking was that Christine could still see Sylvia there, her horrifying face wide open as if she was about to devour Christine. Seeing such terrifying visions, Christine fled and went straight to the fortune teller, Parker, to seek a solution. Finally, Parker told Christine the complete truth. He said that before dying, Sylvia had performed a dark ritual on Christine's coat button, binding a powerful demon to her. That demon would come to take Christine's soul to hell after 3 days. Christine asked if there was any solution to this. Parker told her that she would need to perform an animal sacrifice. Once the sacrifice was done, the demon might leave Christine's soul and instead take the soul of the animal to hell, saving her life. But Christine was a vegetarian and couldn't bring herself to kill an innocent animal like that. She refused. Parker tried to convince her, saying that if she didn't do it, the demon would torture her in unimaginable ways. Compared to an animal, her life was far more valuable. At first, Christine firmly refused. But when she returned home, the demonic spirit appeared again and started throwing her around violently. It badly injured Christine, and she realized that if she didn't make the sacrifice, she would lose her soul. So, with a heavy heart, Christine sacrificed her pet cat and buried it in her garden. Dalton had arrived by then and asked Christine why she had done such a thing, but he chose not to focus on it. He just wanted to be with her. Dalton invited Christine for dinner at his house because he wanted to introduce her to his mom and dad. After thinking for a while, Christine said that maybe now everything was finally okay. She had performed the sacrifice, after all, and believed that the demon would no longer follow her. Happy and relieved, Christine went with Dalton to his house. Christine was wearing a beautiful yellow dress and looked stunning. She came downstairs and began talking with Dalton's mom and dad. Dalton's mother asked her several questions like, "Where are your mom and dad?" and "What position do you hold at your job?" Christine responded very gracefully, saying that she lives with her father while her mother works in the city. After having a long conversation, Dalton's mom started to like Christine. She felt that Christine would be the perfect match for their son. Christine had also baked a delicious cake with her own hands, which she began serving to everyone. But the moment she looked at her own slice of cake, she suddenly saw a demon's eye inside it. Christine tried to smile and act normal, but just then, a small fly flew out of her mouth. This was the same fly that had been tormenting her earlier. Dalton's mother was shocked by Christine's strange behavior and decided not to eat the cake. Now Christine began hearing the demonic voices again, and it became clear to her that the demon was still after her. Panicked, she screamed loudly and started throwing glass items into the air before running away. Dalton wanted to go after her, but his mother stopped him, saying, "You need to let that girl go." Terrified, Christine ran to Parker again to ask for help. Parker said that maybe now only one person could help her, but that person wouldn't do it for free. He would charge $100 for it, and she would need to arrange the money by the next day. Christine was extremely stressed out because she didn't have that much money. So she went to her boss, Jack, and asked him to give her the assistant manager position and advance a few months of salary. But Jack laughed and said, "What position are you even talking about? All the clients you registered for loans have cancelled, so the assistant manager position is no longer yours. We've given it to Sky instead." This left Christine heartbroken. Crying, she returned home. She emptied her bank account and laid all the cash in front of her, but even then, she was only able to gather $4,000. Sitting there, eating ice cream, Christine thought deeply to herself, maybe this is my final moment. The 3 days are nearly over, and after that, the demon will drag me to hell. Her troubles just didn't seem to end. And then, suddenly, someone made an entry. Dalton told Christine, "I've already paid Parker the $100. You don't have to be scared anymore, because I still love you." Dalton was determined to stay with Christine till the end, which finally made her feel a little more comforted. Together with Dalton and Parker, Christine set out to visit the person who could break the curse on her. But the shocking part was that this place wasn't just any house, it belonged to Della, the same woman who had once tried to save a young boy from a demonic possession in a Mexican family years ago, but failed. Christine, Parker, and Dalton told Della everything. Della realized it was the same demon who had killed that child long ago and dragged his soul to hell. But she assured Christine, "I won't let it take you." Della explained that there was only one way to destroy the demon. They had to trap it in the body of an animal and then end that body's life. She said, "I'll read a spell that will draw the demon into my own body. When that happens, you must grab my hand and place it on the goat's head, so the demon transfers into the goat's body. Then, if we behead the goat, we can destroy the demon forever." But what sounded simple in words was deadly in reality. It involved risking lives. Della slowly began chanting the spell. As she did, many spirits began to gather around the room, drawn to the incantation. Still, Della bravely pushed the other spirits away and succeeded in summoning the terrifying demon, the same one that had cursed Christine years ago through the old woman. The demon, far more powerful than the rest, entered Della's body and took full control of her. Possessed, Della, now host to the monstrous spirit, began levitating and wreaking havoc in the room, her voice thundering, "I want Christine's soul." But Parker quickly grabbed Della's hand and forced it onto the goat's head. The demon screamed and transferred from Della's body into the goat. Now the goat itself became terrifying, its body convulsing, its eyes glowing with evil energy. But tragedy struck. The man who was supposed to behead the goat was attacked instead. The possessed goat bit him, and the demon immediately entered his body. Now the demon had a stronger, faster human host, and it fled the scene after attacking everyone in the room. That meant the demon was now more powerful than ever. And Christine had just one day left before it would drag her soul to hell, forever. The saddest part? Della died in the process of helping Christine. Parker turned to Christine and said gravely, "You don't have much time left. There's only one thing left to try." The truth was, if Christine placed the cursed button, the one that old lady Sylvia had used to curse her, into an envelope and gifted it to someone, the curse could be transferred. So, to save her own life, Christine decided she would give that envelope to someone else. Now, she was out on a long drive with Dalton. The envelope containing the cursed button was with her. Suddenly, an old man appeared in front of their car, shouting, "You will go to hell." In that chaos, the envelope slipped from Christine's hand and fell under the car. After searching desperately, she finally found the envelope and took it back. As Dalton dropped her off, he smiled and said, "We'll meet tomorrow, on our beautiful date." Christine walked away happily. Over the next few hours, Christine tried giving that envelope to several people. But no matter what, her conscience just wouldn't allow her. In the end, she couldn't bring herself to hand it to anyone. She returned to Parker and asked, "Can I give this envelope not to a living person, but to someone who's already dead?" Parker said, "Yes. That is possible." Guided by Parker, Christine went to exhume Sylvia's grave. It was hard, grueling work, but she finally reached the old woman's corpse. Christine placed the envelope, containing the cursed button, right next to Sylvia's dead body. A storm had started. Heavy rain poured down, lightning cracked across the sky, and the coffin began to fill with water. Christine barely managed to escape alive. She now believed with full confidence that the curse was over. The envelope had been passed on, and she was free. She was filled with happiness and headed to meet Dalton for their long-awaited date. Just then, she received a call from her boss, Jack. "Christine," he said, "Sky was a fraud. He stole your files and used them to get promoted. But we've removed him now, and the assistant manager position is yours." Christine was thrilled. Everything finally seemed to be falling into place. She couldn't wait to tell Dalton the good news. She arrived at a railway station in California, where she and Dalton were about to leave for a vacation. She was beaming with joy. And Dalton was just as happy to see her. In fact, he got down on one knee to propose to her. But then, he pulled out an envelope. And inside that envelope was the same cursed button. Christine froze in horror. She screamed in shock. How? How was this possible? She had buried the cursed button with Sylvia's corpse, hadn't she? So how did that cursed envelope end up with Dalton? Well, the truth is, at the beginning of the story, Dalton did have an envelope, but it contained something else entirely. However, when that old man suddenly appeared in front of their car, the envelopes got swapped. Which meant, the cursed button ended up with Dalton. And the ordinary letter ended up with Christine. So the envelope Christine had placed near Sylvia's corpse was just a letter. Christine, realizing this horrifying mistake, staggered backward in fear, toward the railway tracks. And in the very next moment, she fell onto the track. Dalton rushed forward, trying to help her, but a train was already approaching. Just then, from deep beneath the ground, that same demonic entity ripped its way to the surface. It grabbed Christine with monstrous force, dragging her toward the burning gates of hell. Dalton clutched her hand, desperately trying to save her, but no one could win against that demon. No one ever has. And no one ever will. In a final, terrifying moment, the demon completed the curse by pulling Christine's soul, and her body, into hell forever. Christine was gone. Dalton had just watched the woman he loved die before his very eyes. This was something he would never forget, for the rest of his life. And with that, our terrifying story comes to an end.